Now let's move on to Hindalco, because CNBC-TV18 has learned, and this is an exclusive, that Novelis has filed for an IPO in the US. Nigel joins in to decode what it means for Hindalco. Nigel.
Well, that's right. Hindalco is in focus and the stock opened gap up, but it's come off the top. Now, the reason is that overnight we learned that the company says that they're looking to list their subsidiary, which is Novelis, in the United States. Let's give you a brief analysis on the financials. The EBITDA, well, that's at around $2 billion approximately for Novelis. So you give it a multiple of around 6.5 times odd. It gives you an enterprise value of around 12 to around $13 billion odd. Keep in mind that they have debt of around $4.5 billion. So net, you'll have an equity valuation of around $8 billion. If it's going to be a $15 billion, enterprise value, then the equity portion will be around $10 billion. So that's what they could possibly look to range. What is unclear is how much of the stake will Hindalco look to dilute in Novelis. And the second factor is Novelis, they require the money. But if Hindalco is going to be getting the money, what does Hindalco do with it? Because Hindalco, as it is in India, they're debt-free. In fact, they have excess cash. So what are they planning on doing? Will they give out a big dividend? Will they have some other capex plan in mind? So that's what, we'll be looking at. But why has the stock come off from the high point of the day? It opened gap up close to around 5% and then it came off. The street would have preferred if they had done an issuance of shares. That is, they issued more shares at Novelis and then the money comes back to Novelis. That would be far better. Now what's happening is Hindalco, they are reducing their stake. So the money comes back to Hindalco. Next up, the smaller peer, that's Constellium, it's already listed in the United States and it trades at around 5.3, 5.5 times EV upon EBITDA. And the valuation that we're giving to Novelis is we're talking about around 6.5 times odd. So that as well, we're giving it a bit of a premium because it is far larger. Next up, there could be a potential tax outflow because the money is going to be coming back to Hindalco and the entity that's in need of money is Novelis. Also, it could attract a holding company discount in the time to come. Once it lists, then you'll give it a holding company discount. And finally, listing of Novelis, they'll give the FIs a direct play into Novelis. Currently, FIs hold roughly 25% in Hindalco out here. But if you list Novelis, then they'll say directly, let me buy the shares out there. Brokerages, what are they saying? Phillip Capital has an interesting one. They cannot rule out the possibility of this money going to support Vodafone Idea. That will be a big negative if it happens. So that's what Phillip says. Investec says they continue to maintain their buy rating, but they see a little reason to cheer because of the factors that we've already mentioned out. And Nuvama, they have a hold rating with a target price of 508. The sale of shares by promoters doesn't give any big case for a re-rating. So that's the reason why the stock has come off the high point of the day. Yes, the news is positive, but the reason the stock is not sustaining is because they would have rather preferred if the money goes back to Novelis than come to Hindalco. Hindalco doesn't really need the money. Back to you guys.
Very well explained. Thank you for that. We will slip into a very short break.